Tell me your story.
I was this close to dying from a brain abscess that was misdiagnosed.
Good to know people care, though.
For a lot of people, the MRIs are clear.
You said you had a lot to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Someone said,
I thought it was normal to have like seizures by yourself all the time.
You definitely will feel guilt a lot.
I so appreciate you putting this together.
thank you. But I have something here. It
Make
says,
note of the urge too.
oh, think that could be triggering.
You never know.
We'll see. Got something here that says help, advice. The sister of someone with epilepsy. Hello, I'm pretty sure my sister is in the state of psychosis, probably due to a seizure. I'm super scared to take her to the hospital because last time they didn't really understand and transfer her to a psychiatrist facility. The ER hospital staff was abusive with her as well. So I'm pretty traumatized from the experience. And if I'm traumatized, I know she's probably more so. Any advice how to get her back to normal? I gotta look up the word psychosis because I actually don't know what that means.
So she was in psychosis during a seizure, after a seizure, they said?
Let's
AJ
see.
says time, it takes time. Post-seizure psychosis is a rare psychiatric condition that occurs after a seizure and involves symptoms like hallucinations, delusions, agitation, often appearing hours or days after a seizure. So this can hit you even days after the seizure. AJ went through that saying it felt like shit. How long did it happen after the seizure for you? I couldn't imagine somebody having delusions and being so agitated, possibly days after a seizure. Happens more often in patients with drug-resistant epilepsy. 3 days after the seizure is when you got psychosis. Wow. Lasted for 2 months. That's ridiculous.
AJ, you
Really
gotta
just
come on and tell me this story, man.
Yeah, please.
I need the story. Timeline. Your stories are amazing. How you're alive, man. You tell me some stories and I'm be like, wow. Like a lot of them I'm like, how'd you make it through? You are resilient.
I have no idea. I just did. One day by one.
Some posts in 2006 said that post-ictal psychosis is common. AJ, did you know anybody else that ever had this, or did your doctor tell you maybe this happens? Like, don't think of this as rare?
I actually did not spoke with my doctor about this, but oh yes, I did, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on with my mind. Pretty much, I was I was in a state of mind where I was swearing a lot. I was in divine stuff, and I was going nuts because I was constantly thinking that I was doing something wrong, but I was not aware of what I was doing. And I was swearing and believing I did a blasphemy. And I was pretty scared.
Seriously, so was there a psychiatrist more handling the treatment for the psychosis?
No, I went to my neurologist and told him about my symptoms, and he said it's normal and you just have to keep your values in the right place and never fall from them, or like, I don't know, just how it was.
So they reassured your morals. They spoke, like talked you through it, or were you actually provided some
Um,
kind of treatment plan?
he, I believe he changed my treatment and increased my doses. he was like, okay, we can no longer wait. You must initiate the treatment with Xcopri and we will see. I'm still experiencing some episodes, but it's not like that.
So in that state of mind, was the transition on medication done inpatient? Or did they send you home with the new meds and just, keep us posted kind of thing?
Yeah, the second one. I mean, it's pretty awkward or weird the way our system is working. I'm still trying to figure it
I
out.
bet, because when you're in that state of mind, you're a danger to yourself.
Yeah, I was.
So
I
it's like
had
benzos to short-term treatment typically involves benzos and low-dose antipsychotic medications too.
I had a period of time when I was getting some rage moves, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was like capable of murdering my mother, and I was hearing voices that told me that I should kill her, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I love her. It was pretty rough, and I was hearing voices and voices and voices.
And at this point, all you can tell about that time period when the psychosis was induced was what medications you were on and what doses, but you have no other to do to avoid psychosis anymore.
I don't know.
Like, are they recommending that you just never take those meds again, or
Um, in that
I'm
period of
seeing here
time,
that they say insomnia are a sign of psychosis.
In that period of time, I was taking Zonegran, and I developed the stress syndrome. So I believe it was something because of it, or because everything in my body was not working. So yeah,
Yeah,
my
go figure.
brain was
Psychosis
affected.
is one of the side effects listed for zonisamide, Zonegran.
Oh, I did not know that.
Patients, irritability, hostility, paranoia, isolative behavior, so just like withdrawing from others, intrusive, experiencing those intrusive thoughts, and
Yeah,
mental and cognitive changes.
I'm still recovering from that.
All right, so we watch out for the Zonegran.
You ever took that Zonogram?
Yes, I took it for 2 years, and
Yeah,
last
that
3
was one of the
months
ones that was
were
supposed to be safer
the
for
worst.
pregnancy too. So it was like the higher dose of the Zonegran that got.
I can't hear you.
Oh,
Can
sorry.
you
Did
repeat?
did did the psychosis get worse the more Zonegran you took?
Um, Actually, it's a funny story. I was on the highest dose, 300, and I went to my ex-neurologist and told her I'm not okay, and she was like, "Oh, you don't have seizure, you have PNS," and I was okay. And what I should do? She said, "Stop the treatment immediately and never take it." And I was not okay with that. She lowered my doses to 100, and eventually my medical situation worsened in like 1 month, and I had the doses, and the situation got worse and worse and worse, but I was not aware. And eventually I stopped the treatment because I suspected it was giving me stress syndrome. And once I stopped it, everything went to normal.
You said Dravet syndrome?
Yes, stress syndrome.
What is that? I heard of it, I believe.
It's when your lymph nodes are swollen, and your spleen and liver are affected. It starts to hurt really bad, and I also experience bone pain, like severe bone pain. And I was having some rash on my skin that was itching, and I was prone to bleeding.
Yeah, it says Dravet syndrome, previously known as severe myoclonic epilepsy of infancy, is a genetic disorder that leads to catastrophic epilepsy. It typically manifests in the first year of life, often triggered by fever or high temperatures. The condition is associated with mutation of the SCN1A gene, which affects sodium channels in the brain, leading to abnormal electrical activity and seizures. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you're dealing with that.
Yeah. About what you read? Read about what? The dress syndrome?
It says Dravet syndrome.
Oh, I don't have the Dravet syndrome. I had dress syndrome. It's an
Oh,
allergic reaction.
dress.
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say that is Dravet syndrome is
No, I
serious,
don't have.
and that didn't sound good. Dress syndrome, drug reaction with
Systemic failure.
there you go. There's another word. It's I don't know how to pronounce it. Drug reaction with EOSINOPHILIA.
I
Yeah,
forgot the first two letters, so I don't know how it's pronounced.
it's EOSINOPHILA. Dress
My brain is not
is
braining.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Eosinophilia.
Ah, yes, yes. It's something that affects your white blood cells in your body.
Eosinophilia
Yes,
is a
these blood cells are the reaction when they get multiplied when you have a reaction like allergy in your body.
okay. This is a severe hypersensitive reaction to certain medication characterized by a combination of skin rash, fever, multi-organ involvement. Serious drug hypersensitive reaction typically occurs 2 to 8 weeks after exposure to triggering medication. It is classified as a severe cutaneous adverse reaction and can lead to significant morbidity or mortality. The condition is characterized by following symptoms. Yeah, I learn something new every day. Skin rash, fever, eosinophilia, lymphadenopathy, swollen lymph nodes, basically. Yeah, multi-organ involvement. This includes liver, kidneys, lung, and heart.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Huh?
I forgot about kidneys and heart.
Liver and the lungs and the
Yeah,
heart.
and
Is there like medication to help you get through that?
I mean, steroids. I mean, from what I've heard, or stopping immediately the treatment, which was my solution. But I believe I should seek a doctor because I'm still having symptoms. Not so worse, but they're still there.
Back to the post. There is some comments here. I'll read one. One says, one that's saying help for advice with a sister with someone with epilepsy. One says that's the joy of the community at large, believing epilepsy and seizures are mental disorders and or possession by demons. I've had such happen to me as well, and have also had wonderful treatment. The ER in the United States has become a repository for those who can't afford basic care yet, still need to be kept from dying. I am one of those, so I have just accepted my fate that I won't get proper care because I am not well off. Another comment here says, in an ideal situation, you would be her neurologist. HIPAA forms or equivalent for outside the U.S. that would allow you to contact the neurologist and let the neurologist give you guidance. The neurologist would also be able to give a hospital a heads up so that your sister is treated properly. I'll go ahead and say that you or someone she trusts needs to be put in the neurologist files to give this authorization in the future events. You can still contact the neurologist office and kind of hope someone overlooks the HIPAA laws and gives you a guidance or speak with a in quote hypothetical sense and see if it gets you somewhere. I work in the medical field, so I can say that in these situations, if there is something staff can do, they will. I don't believe that one. But anyhow, the rest of it says, so don't be afraid to call, but ultimately your sister needs medical help and may need to go to the ER and be prepared by vocal advocate. Tell them her history, what happens before, etc. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Thank you for caring. Many with epilepsy have nobody to help them in these situations. And that's correct.
So this one's all about support system. You know, somebody that one caught me off guard that was saying anybody who can help you will in a medical setting.
Yeah, they have the
Sounded like
good
most of
ones.
those comments were about getting a support system or one to count on, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I think is getting a support system is the best thing to do because someone who knows what you're going through and understands you and wants to listen to get an understanding for you. That's the good people. Um, my mother wants to, slowly, but she wants to. I do have another one here. It says med times. What time do you consider the window of time that is considered on time? Exactly right on the dot? 10 minutes, 30 minutes? I'm interested on other people's perspectives. I consider right at the time as on time, but also try to make myself feel awful if it's within 30 minutes. This especially happens in the morning for me. I never take it on time. I'm always 5 to 10 minutes late, or if I'm further than that, then like today, I was like an hour and something late because I went and got it. I went and got my meds. I went and got the water, and then I answered the phone, and the pills and the water were sitting next to me until like 11 o'clock. And it was like, I waited a whole hour and forgot what I was doing after that phone call. So yeah, I
Don't you love
can't
how when
believe
you're
this.
talking to somebody, like making an appointment and you schedule it before you get off the phone and they're so like, you know, they act grateful like this appointment's so important to you. You want to schedule it so soon, and I don't even bother just letting them know. No, it's like if I don't schedule this now, then I'm not going to show. So
But
it's cool when they think like that. Just let them take it as a compliment.
yeah,
Somebody here is saying, why do I enjoy music much more after a seizure? Every time I have a seizure, the next few days, music sounds 100 times better. I had a seizure Sunday night, and since then I've had my headphones on all day, every day. I'd say it's the only good thing about having a seizure. I would think to agree with this to a certain point. If it's a song or anything that sounds familiar, that's what feels better after a seizure. That would sound better if you somehow like knew the words or, you know, if it's a good song. But I guess after a seizure during that little bit of post-ictal time when I think I'm kind of hyper aware, I could see music sounding better. But that's why I'll never watch stand-up or like something that has a lot of clapping. Not right after a seizure anyway.
Yeah, I
You ever
like
you
music
ever had
after a
something like that?
seizure. For some reason, yeah, music's always good after a seizure. Music and laying down, because I'm usually laying down listening to the TV. But I can imagine good music and laying down after a seizure would go really well. Um,
Are those after hour days or what are you going for then?
Say that again.
I was asking which album you were listening to because I was thinking after hours, but I didn't know if you still had preferences like that.
Um, Usually, when after a seizure and I'm laying down, I just put on a mix and I just let it mix by itself. And it's usually a lot of the weekend. Um, or if it's not the weekend, it's someone similar to him or a feature with him in it. Uh, yeah, but I do have a wide variety of music that does play on when it does play on random.
This comment is agreeing with the post saying your brain is flooded with dopamine. This causes a euphoric, excited state, almost a high, quote unquote. Your senses are heightened and that music hits. So that's a better way of explaining it. I like that one.
There's been times where I have seizures and then I can't get a song out of my head. There's been those, and when I can't get the song out of my head, then I just usually go to, um, I think it's Google, or maybe Siri, one of those guys. Um, there's this thing where they have the music and you just hum to it and it tells you the song, and I hum the words that I don't know, and it usually just picks the song out for me, and I'm like, there I go. Thanks for doing that for me. That's a good thing to have.
Anything to get a song out of your head for sure.
Right. Then after I search it, I need to listen to it like 5 to 10 times. Then I'll put it in my playlist.
Wow. Hey, at
And
least it's
most of the
not some kind
times,
of commercial.
it's a song that I don't usually listen to. And once I hear it in my head throughout the night and I'm humming it and I don't know the words, that's when I need Siri to let me know what song am I humming so I can play the actual song.
And then
Um,
the whole rest of the song is way different than like that hook or the chorus or the part you remember. Yeah. Somebody else says asking, how do you get over the fear of SUDEP? Oh, okay. AJ's saying you don't. You don't get over the cause over the fear of SUDEP. I think you can change the way you look at it. You know, if it is actually a fear, then the only thing you can do is try to become accustomed to it. The first comment, for example, is saying, one day I'm going to die. Doesn't matter how I go, but one day we all going to go. So fuck it. Have fun. Tell people you love them and keep it pushing. And that's something that says I remind myself of this often. And yeah, somebody else comments on that saying, we do your surgery. Okay, someone that's had the talk. We do your surgery or SUDEP is going to take you real soon. They're saying that's lovely, so, you know, something you really want to hear before you have a surgery. Saying if we do your surgery, if we don't do your surgery, SUDEP is going to take you. And they're saying first thing I did after the talk, I took on a good part of Mount Washington because fuck it, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go out somewhere cool. Okay, so maybe that's a hiking thing. They climbed a mountain. Yeah, if you have accomplishments on a bucket list, then that's something to they'll be happy that you have those accomplishments before anything takes you. And somebody else is reminding them too that it is super unlikely. It's like 1 in 1,000 people with epilepsy die from SUDEP.
That's quite the thing to come back to the conversation here. SUDEP.
Welcome back. How do
That
you get
caught
over
me
the
off
fear
guard.
of SUDEP?
Say that again.
How do you get over the fear of SUDEP was the question.
I it might sound easier or dumb to some. I just don't like pay attention to it. Don't think about it. It's just it's there. There's no reason to keep thinking about it and wondering when and how and all that stuff. And yeah, when it comes, it comes. It's I'm not gonna say it's the inevitable, but it's like something we can't prevent. So um
Accepting it.
yeah, because inevitable means it's gonna happen for sure. So it's not gonna happen for sure, but I don't worry about it because you stress yourself out about it. Then you might have a seizure, which could be that seizure or anything. Yeah,
That's
I
just
hate to
so
be the
obvious
bearer of
that
bad
why you
news.
don't want to live in fear. It did
Um,
let us have that comment of I'm more scared of shitting my pants in public than SUDEP. So there you go.
yeah,
It's not worth the fear, not worth the energy. A lot of comments on this one, just saying their situations. I'm 52, been living with epilepsy for over 30 years. SUDEP is rare, random. I won't know if it happens. That's another point. There's nothing I can do to prevent it except continue treatment. Been working with an epilepsy center since '05. Been through brain surgery for the RNS. Put in my best effort to prevent seizures. What happens now is outside of my control, and I'm not going to worry about it. More concerned about living the best quality of life as an epileptic. Welcome, Kev. Came in on a question about how you handle SUDEP or how you don't get scared of SUDEP. And a lot of the comments are saying just don't let yourself get scared of it.
Right. The odds are very small, and just like everything else, you could get hit by a car or struck by lightning, anything else, any other tragedy. I mean, it does pertain to us, but it's still very, very small. Don't get yourself worked up.
there's a few here, and I got one because it says something we could all relate to. I am afraid that I'll never have a job. Has anyone achieved a somewhat normal life while still having seizures, pretty regular seizures? Someday I want to have money to own a house, have a boyfriend, and almost have a normal life. Has anyone yet achieved this? I live a normal life. Um, I wouldn't say I have money. I have some money. Yeah, has anyone achieved having a good life? And I have a good life. I say you just got to find things in this good life that makes you happy, that makes you excited to wake up and do or look at or um,
Yeah, I was living a very comfortable life outside the house for a while. Um, for several, almost a year, when I was going to school, and I was still having seizures, but I had a job, was going to school. It was great, but I had to move back into my parents' house for reasons completely out of my control. The guy lost his house, and I was renting in his house, and he lost his house, and whole mess. That was a real tragedy, and yeah, I was really enjoying it out there. And it's one of those unfortunate things. But yeah, it's very possible. I mean, I think uh,
Ade, are you afraid you'll never have a job again?
I guess I would see if a job was in my future. It's a nice surprise. Not expecting it, trying to do whatever I have to do to live without it. But obviously, that could come back, and that's just more reasons to, keep myself capable if it does get to that point. It could be a reality. I think, we could handle it if we have to. Keep some skills exactly for
One
that
thing,
situation.
have you achieved somewhat of a normal life since you have epilepsy?
Not really happy with how it's going. Normal,
With it,
probably not, but I'm still happy with it.
I'd say mine's normal. It's good.
yeah, not completely, but yeah, it's you know, life is
It's a cool life.
yeah, life is compromises, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean, can't complain that much. I mean,
And it's really
Um,
important that you can adjust your own standards. That's for sure.
mm,
One of the comments here, it says it's definitely possible for many of us. I'm 34. I've been a homeowner for 11 years. I have a husband and a daughter, and I have a decent career in accountancy, finance. I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 31, but my focal seizures started when I was 11. So I achieved all of that with temporal lobe epilepsy. It's challenging at times, but I count myself lucky. Yeah. Another comment here says, yes, I've had epilepsy seizures since I was 13 and I'm 40 now. I went to college. I have 2 master's degrees. I lived on my own for over 10 years. I have a full time job. I got married to the love of my life last summer. I've never been able to drive, and epilepsy definitely impacted my life deeply. I think when you have a disability like epilepsy, you have to get creative about transportation, work, and just having a life. It took me a long time, but I was able to cultivate a tight group of friends and date eventually. What made my big difference was living in the center of my own city and living distance within a job. Do not ever let anyone tell you that you can't have a good life while having epilepsy. Right. Don't let anyone hold you back. I have a good life with epilepsy. I haven't accomplished much with epilepsy besides this. In children, that was an accomplishment. But yeah, we'll move forward.
This question about pets is saying, so I had a pretty bad seizure where I had to be taken to the hospital, and since I've been back, my feline child has been constantly by my side, but also acting a bit strange. Has anyone else noticed a change in your pet's behavior after a seizure? I'm afraid I may have scared and stressed him out. He's doing weird things like scooting and going to the bathroom a lot. I'm going to take him to the vet. I'm just curious if anything like this has happened to anyone else. I don't have a cat, but the dog gets really clingy after a seizure.
Yeah, when I did stay with my sister, she had a dog, and it was like a little more standoffish after I had a seizure. But when I look back on camera, the dog would like be there, just like watching me have the seizures. But then, like after I come to, I noticed that it wouldn't come to me as much. Um, but even if I call out his name, he wasn't coming as often. So I don't know if it's like a thing like right after I have a seizure, then it was scared like I was gonna do something. Is how I felt. It was like I used to think like I just had a seizure, like it's not gonna do anything to you. He's always like cowering and cowering. Yeah, like I'm gonna hurt him.
Dogs get nervous around a lot of stuff they just don't know that, haven't been introduced to anything new.
Yeah.
Good thing you didn't get aggressive though.
It was a Chihuahua, so I mean,
They can get aggressive over anything.
yeah. Um,
Hey,
yeah.
do you ever have any pets that reacted to your seizures? Other people are saying yes. My fur baby was very skittish after my first few seizures, or after my last few seizures, but she tends to relax after a week and always keeps by my side. She's my only companionship, doing my best to keep her happy, but being a cat, I can only spoil her so much. The stress and shyness after having a seizure where you jerk around, especially if they sleep on or around you, is something I'm going to say is almost expected. But the scooting is always something I worry about. Did she just start her? Has she been doing it? So yeah, the comment is saying the cat might act weird, but if they're actually like going to the bathroom a lot and get like physical, signs, then maybe they do need to go to the vet. Somebody else is just saying this happened to me recently. Haven't noticed anything unusual in the cat. More that he was super happy after I came back from the hospital. But that always happens if I go out of town for a few days too. So yeah, there's that.
Um,
And AJ says my hamster did not care about me seizing. He always shows me their butt. Okay. That's rodents, of course.
I do have a post here. It says, partner having new seizures. My 26-year-old male partner started having seizures in his sleep last week. It was in the middle of the night, and I had no clue what was happening. I just saw blood from his mouth. He bit his tongue and the thrashing with his eyes open. I truly thought I was losing him. So I was screaming at 911 to hurry up. Everyone came, firemen, paramedics, and police. When they finally got to him, when they finally got him to come, he was just a little confused and I felt awful. Anyway, I'm now incredibly terrified to sleep. I'm scared. It's gonna happen every night, and I really don't know how to process this at all. We all we have a newborn, and I have just been trying to get through each day and night. Someone help. I haven't had a baby. Um, uh, or after a seizure. I mean, after a baby came, I think I've had some seizures. Um, Kate, do you think you can help me with this one?
Uh, Give me a summary. What are we working with?
Um, this person is saying that their partner started having seizures. They just had a baby, and it's the woman that's not having seizures. It's the guy that's having seizures, and she's afraid to go to sleep because she's afraid he might have them in his sleep. But she just had a baby also, so afraid to go to sleep isn't always good because you're gonna need some of that sleep eventually.
Yeah, you're gonna need the sleep, but if you're in the same bed, then that's when you would look forward to going to sleep. The sooner you get good sleep, then if he has some kind of convulsions or anything that would wake you up, then you'd want to have some kind of chance of a clear mind when you wake up to tend to him. Remembering where the emergency meds are and exactly what to do. It's definitely stressful, but I mean, practice, go over it, talk about it with each other, and just more things will come up that way. If you talk about this is what I'll do first, then you think, okay, I don't know where the meds are, or it'll slip off of this. Don't put it on the headboard. Put it on the dresser. Like pick a better spot for the rescue meds. Have a little hospital bag. Maybe want to have that prepared in case it does have to be a call. So you and little one will have what they need. You have to go. Yeah, definitely for an infant, you just want to be prepared for every situation. Have your to-go diaper bag and like have the to-go hospital bag.
Mm.
That was a newborn thing.
I had a seizure the day my daughter was born. I actually had it while holding her um, newborn.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
I
you
was
got to
holding
elaborate
her.
now.
So I was holding her, and like I said, she's newborn. And I think my stepmom said she seen the look in my eyes, and she said, "Somebody get the baby." And she said, as it was happening, I guess is when I kind of threw the baby a little bit. Um, so luckily there was someone. Yeah, there's no such thing as a little bit. So I threw her, and I guess I don't know who was closest to me. It might have been my stepmom to get her, but yeah, I passed her on to whoever was nearest. Yeah, and they were like, "Him or the baby." Um, I mean, I'm sure it didn't go like that, but they didn't save me. And I woke up in the emergency room downstairs, and I didn't have pants on, and I was worried that I had things in my pockets that I was going to go to the jail for. It's like, oh my goodness, I have drugs in my pocket. Um, things have gotten better with the drug laws these days. So, yeah, I made it through that. Got something here?
Yes, you did.
No, little
Daddies,
comments.
make it through that. Good job.
Yeah, made it through live, but didn't go through my pockets and go to jail. But I got
More
some
and more to be
comments.
proud of every time you bring it up. Go ahead.
One of the comments, one just says sending love. Same thing happened with me, but my partner is the one who woke up and found me. He wakes up anytime I make a sound. The after effects are so brutal, tongue hurts, headache, extremely exhausted, to the point where I sleep for the next 24 hours. The week following is a blur. Please just give them love and know that you just being there is such a comforting feeling. Another comment here says, I'm so sorry to hear that. You've also experienced this, witnessed a loved one can cause feelings of PTSD. For your own mental health, I would make sure you're seeking a support, self care, therapy, or anything that helps you take care of yourself because the anxiety can be debilitating. The feeling for you, I feel for you so much as someone who has also witnessed a seizure. I hope you know that you're not alone on this journey. He has seen a neurologist. I don't know, has he seen a neurologist? Has he started medication? Please keep us posted. Hey Jeff, how you doing? It says partner having seizures. I mean, your partner's not having seizures, but you're having seizures. Um, and the person was basically saying that they see the person's in bed and they don't want to go to sleep. They're the person watching the person who just had a seizure. Um, yeah, you're the only one having in a relationship. I was going to ask you, how does that go? Does that make people nervous that we have seizures and then they have to sleep next to us?
It does make her nervous, but it's been different for me because I don't regularly get tonic-clonic. As far as I know, I've only had one, and it was at night, and I really don't even know if it was one or I fell out of bed, which I don't think it was. But I I get focals almost exclusively, but she's always worried about me. You know what's happening, where I'm at, and I don't think sleeping is any different. Um, and I don't know where else to go with that.
Yeah, this person they were saying she said she was trying to get some sleep. It's hard to go through that process because she needs sleep because they just had a baby as well, and she just seen him have a
That's
seizure.
another
So,
good point though, because anybody who's like a new parent, if you convince yourself that you got everything checked off on like in the best interest of the newborn, then rest assured you can stay calm, do what you got to do, and baby's good too.
The other thing is, if you're a new parent, you need your sleep. The baby has to come first. And if your partner has a seizure, you're going to know about it if you're sleeping next to them. So don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do to you can prepare yourself for how to react, but that's all you can do is prepare yourself. You have to stay calm and just be prepared. Go to sleep like you normally would.
probably
There are
easier
enough
said than
things in
done.
our world to worry about.
Great advice. It's probably easier said than done.
Yeah, there's no
But
question.
yeah, I couldn't imagine waking up to someone having a seizure. Uh,
But your staying up is not helping them not have a seizure.
right. Yeah, you're just watching someone sleep and hoping they don't have a seizure. But I do got a new one here. It says waking up with a swollen lip. Anyone else get this? During the day, anyone else get this? During the day, I have focal seizures, lose awareness, etc., but ain't biting my lips. But sometimes wake up in the morning with a big swollen lip and no memory of biting it. So it must be happening during a nocturnal seizure of some sort. Um, the question was, anyone get this? Waking up to a swollen lip. I woke up with the insides of my cheeks chewed up. Um, felt like I was like biting something hard. Sometimes it felt like I don't know how to exactly put it. Sometimes it felt like I intentionally just like attack biting my cheek. Um, yeah, that's the only way I can think of explaining it. Feels like I was like aiming for my cheek. Like that sensation of just like trying to bite something. That's what it felt like. Like I was
And
trying
how
to
does
do
it
it on
end up that
purpose.
same spot?
Right. It felt like I was trying to do it on purpose. Like, yeah, it's a bit of complicated trying to explain. Um, yeah. Waking up with a swollen lip,
And
I just
talking
rinse my
different
mouth.
for like 3 days.
Yeah. I just rinse my mouth and try to go back to sleep. I don't have nocturnal seizures that I know of, but don't take my word for it because I have woken up in some sticky situations. Um, yeah, one comment here says, last seizure I woke up with bit into my lip and I'm still healing. At least no scars, but I bit into the nerve and still regrowing. Sounds like me. 3 days of that's usually how it goes, and I'm back. You guys ever bit yourself pretty bad?
I never had stitches, but I know some of them have definitely been like deeper than others. Does your tongue or your cheek bleed more? For me, it's the tongue.
Yeah, for me it's the tongue because I'm always touching it. I mean, not always touching it, but like always using it. Uh, the cheek hurts a lot, but yeah, tongue I hate. There's nothing you can do about it. Then you want to eat, and you're hungry. Yeah.
You can do something
Yeah.
about it.
Say that
I don't
again.
have top. You can do something about it. I don't have top teeth. I have a plate that I take out at night. So I can't bite down on my tongue. I bite down on my cheeks.
You
If
ever
I
got a
bite,
bad bite?
yeah, I always get bad bites.
Yeah, okay.
but not on my tongue. One time I had really bad tooth marks on the underside of my tongue, but it never went through because there was nothing on the other side. And I guess I do have tonic-clonics because when I was in the EMU, not recently, but last year, they diagnosed me with nocturnal seizures. So
Do you tend to have worse ones nocturnal, or has there ever really been a pattern?
I guess the worst ones are nocturnal. When you wake up all dazed and confused and sore, and
I think it seems like those are the longest postictal ones. If
yeah,
I have them early in the morning before I'm actually awake, those take longer to recover from, but only mentally. It's during the
yeah,
day when I got up kind of early and I've been busy and not really taking a break. Those are the tonic-clonics that surprise, but whether they're short or not, those hurt for longer too. So,
I also have a problem sometimes in because of my situation, knowing where I am. Uh, until I open the blinds in my room and see either palm trees or, snow, I sometimes don't know where I am. And that's a little unsettling.
Yeah, you guys got something in particular that you rinse your mouth with when you get a bad bite?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone suggested, my sister suggested there's a name of a rinse. I forgot. That's a good one. Hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
I've heard someone say hydrogen peroxide. Thanks for that, AJ. Um, or water with salt. Yes, good one, AJ. Water with salt, I heard, is worse than the peroxide. I heard the peroxide is disgusting, but it's the best one I heard. Um, so yeah, I got another post here. It says, "How do you cope with tiredness?" For some context, I have epilepsy for about 8 years, and I'm in my 20s. I'm currently living by myself with a cat. I stopped working about a year ago. Is it just me that finds life absolutely exhausting sometimes? I don't know if it's my medication or the fact that I have epilepsy and it's a chronic illness with its own side effects. I just feel like a zombie. I've been told I'm too young to have any aches and pains, and I'm too young to be worrying about why my body hurts, and I'm not allowed to stay in bed because I'm lazy. When all this stems simply from my diagnosis, I've just had enough, really. Most of my old friends are married or have children at this point, and I'm here wallowing, have epilepsy, and can't seem to drag myself out of bed without pure exhaustion. I feel to make I feel I used to make music and constantly and slowing slowly losing the effort to even do that. My parents keep telling me I need to get out there and volunteer or just go back into work when I don't feel any of that is possible. The question was coping with epilepsy, and then another question was, is it just me that finds life absolutely exhausting sometimes? Um, you're not the only one who finds life exhausting at times. And how do I cope with the tiredness? Uh, I got some B12 here by Nature's Made.
Shout out to Nature's Made.
Um, right here. Shout out to Nature's Made. Yeah, I keep those around. That's helped with the morning fatigue mostly. Um, by the nighttime, I'm usually uh yeah, the fatigue is usually gone by the nighttime, and I'm either watching something on TV and hoping that the insomnia from the lamotrigine goes away so I can go to sleep. Um, yeah, for some reason I don't get that fatigue that I get in the day that I used to get in the daytime. I don't get that at nighttime anymore. Would be nice. Another comment here says you need to get outside and do things. Just laying around will rot you away. Find a job, any job that will allow you to work and do it. Find purpose and don't give up.
That's kind of the problem. I think this person was stating in the first place. They were saying everyone says just get out and find a job, and you know, this post is, but that is important. I do agree. You can. Um, I got a treadmill over there, and I I might just do a mile, just walk a mile, just to sort of wake up, do something to get the blood pumping, and you know, I don't know, uh, something, anything.
Some comments here. One says B12 and naps. One says go check your thyroid. Uh, one says uh, I don't know that word, so I'm gonna go down to the next one. It says Adderall is the only thing that allows me to make it out of the house. To be honest, unfortunately, I know stimulants can exacerbate epilepsy for some, but for me, the seizures are actually worse when I'm off of it because my seizures are tied to my sleep state. The more tired I am, the more the seizures I have. Another one says, yeah, no, the tiredness is for life. We require more rest for our brains to function, especially after a seizure. Medicine side effects are brutal, and most of us have comorbid illnesses.
He should come on here and find out how to cope.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, Jeff just said it best. Come
I
on
was in
here
that
and
same state. That was my life.
yeah, I
And
was
now
there.
I'm happy as shit.
I'm
You saw
there.
how I was. Yeah. You saw how I was.
Yeah, you hit it pretty good because I didn't see all that, but then after you pointed it out, then I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, yeah, of course, no one wants to come in like that. Kevin
Yeah.
came in and he told me he had no seizures, and I was like, "What?" His life was already taken off.
Yeah, that's great. But
Yeah,
but you had the surgery, right?
I did.
So, and how long ago was that? 6 years ago?
9 years.
9 years. And how many were you having before that?
Well, before the surgery,
Yeah.
the myoclonic clusters were very bad,
Mm,
immobilizing, let's say.
yeah.
I
I mean, if I were
couldn't,
younger, I would definitely do it.
yeah, no regrets on my part, obviously,
Yeah.
and I was having a tonic-clonics as well, and yeah, it was a pretty big mess, and it's obviously a tough decision for anyone. I know Mark just had it, and I'll support anything he decides. So that's what we're here for.
Hmm.
So
How bad
It's
were your myoclonics? Because mine are small. related to what I hear you say. Mine's are just like nerve twitches. They're really annoying, and they were too often at one point. But can you explain to me how your myoclonics are?
Okay, imagine you blink, and in that second you blink, half of your side of your body goes down. You lose control of almost that. Those were the worst ones, or all of, or your legs would just go out. It wouldn't be a jerk. It would just be a loss of control of a limb or a leg. So my body would just drop straight down. I wouldn't fall over. I would just fall onto my knees and hyperfluctuate them, and it's like uh, so. Trying to go to the bathroom, I would just blink and then start falling over towards and this was everything. This was happening all day, and I couldn't make food for myself. I couldn't, you know, you know, yeah, I couldn't do very much, and
That sounds
uh,
bad.
and these were happening not once or twice. These were happening in clusters. So, you know, I would get up and fall down again, and then uh, yeah, I mean, they were just not a very livable situation.
That sounds
Uh,
horrible, Kevin. It really sounds like a hell of a way to live.
Yeah, and it was very, very difficult, and
Yeah.
much better here now. And this is, yeah, I'm glad I made the decision for the BNS, and uh, hope Mark has the same success. And yeah, and but yeah, it's those are one of the seizures that nobody knows about, or very little about, and it's difficult to educate people on all those seizures. Yeah, I suppose.
yeah, before I knew what it was, and I was just dealing with the nerve twitches, I didn't think it was much. I didn't think much of it. I didn't even think to point it out to the doctor. Um, I mean, to the neurologist, I didn't think to point it out to him. Like I said, I was going through it for 10 years before I actually got on Reddit and someone told me that's what it was. And I was like, oh, myoclonic.
Well,
Well, time to point it out now. And
well, that was my
yeah,
original diagnosis. Was JME, juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. They did an EEG, and that was what it came out as.
When you twitch,
how
is it
they,
like a big twitch or is it just like you're like that, like your arms are just shaking a little bit?
It could be the range can be. I can feel it in my skull. It could be like a. It could be like a shock, and it's basically a shock. It feels like a taser. So it could be like a small anything from like feeling several of them in your brain, and those are R's too, because the more frequent and powerful they become, that's telling my body that I'm going to have a tonic-clonic,
Get ready.
which always happens. That was the big thing that um, Yeah, that's the big thing to remember for my situation. Um, but yeah, the power, the range would, yeah, be anything from just a little shock in my head to losing complete control of my body. I could, I would just fall down, uh, and it would be maybe a leg or my arm, you know, twisting or, but yeah, the okay.
Um, when you said just fall down, it made me think of gelastic seizures, like drop seizures. You ever get tested for that, or you think
Now
falling down was something else?
I will look into that. Gelastic seizures. What's that? Like
Drop seizures.
gelastic seizures are they're characterized by sudden uncontrollable bursts of laughter that are not. I'll look up drop seizures.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey,
Mark,
pretty good. How about you guys?
I'm good. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Um,
You ever heard of gelastic seizures?
Of what?
Gelastic seizures?
Uh, what? Gelastic? Like
Yes.
elastic, but with a G at the beginning?
Yes.
Uh, can't say that I have. It's
My stepsister gets those.
almost, it's like, I don't know. I can't
That's the
even.
laughing seizures. My stepsister
Oh,
gets those.
who does?
My stepsister.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like laughing fits, uncontrollable laughing fits? Or,
Yeah. Involuntary laughter that can last from a few seconds to a couple of minutes. The laughter often sounds forced or unnatural and occurs even in inappropriate social situations.
I've never stopped to consider whether laughter could be a seizure of some sort. I mean, I suppose the inappropriate context is kind of a big flag. That doesn't, involuntary, inappropriate laughter is, yeah, I don't know. It's a new one for me. That's for sure. But um, can't say I'm surprised that the brain can figure out a way to laugh while it's seizing.
Yeah. My stepdad was quite confused at that, and he was like, "Oh, that's a seizure." It's like, "Oh, all right." They didn't really look too much into it. It was just like, "Oh, she's having these laughing seizures," and yeah,
It reminds me of uh, the myoclonics. Didn't Lufa mention that uh, myoclonic seizures can sometimes manifest as hiccups, like extreme, like to the point of like painful hiccups can be a myoclonic jerk of the diaphragm muscles there that are, you know, um, I wonder if there's a similar, like a myoclonic muscle contraction of, you know, that, I don't know, whatever region would control diaphragm that might come across as laughter, that might be a reason why it sounds odd or forced or something. If it's
have you guys heard of insular? Insular? epilepsy?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the word insular, but I've never heard of insular epilepsy. Is that,
It says insular epilepsy is a form of epilepsy originating from the insular cortex, characterized by diverse seizure types and complex clinical features, making it diagnosis and treatment challenging.
insular cortex? Where is that in the brain? Someplace deep, I think, right? Just from the name, it sounds like it's gotta be. Insular's gotta be in somewhere.
Yeah. I got something here though. It says, should I switch to Breviact? Right now, I currently take 1,800 of Keppra and 25 milligrams of Lamictal. And it's kind of driving me crazy and wanting to know if it would be a good idea to switch. Haven't personally taken Breviact. I don't want to suggest anything that I haven't exactly tried or don't know much about personally. I heard it's good. If you like to sleep, someone told me it would help me sleep if I need sleep because lamotrigine causes insomnia. Yeah, I was told to ask for Briviac that'll help me sleep. I'm gonna stick to what I'm taking because I hate trying all these different kinds of pills. With no testing, I'll stick to what I'm at.
Yeah, Briviact is, I mean, it's still patented, so there is no generic form, but the name of the drug, were it generic, would be brivaracetam. So, the name brivaracetam is an indicator. It is very, very structurally similar to leveracetam. So if they're already on Keppra, the selling point that I was given for Briviact was, um, well, first off, its mechanism of action is different from the meds that I'm on. The Vimpat and the Lyrica both work on sodium channels, among other little, but the brivaracetam is, its primary mechanism of action is the same as Keppra, but in the trials and everything, it has been reported to have significantly fewer side effects. And yeah, if they're already on Keppra and their doctor is proposing, like a cross taper to switch over from Keppra to Briviact, so, I mean, that might be a great way to reduce some side effects if that's something that they're struggling with. But if they're considering adding the Briviact on top of the Keppra, then that's something to be aware of, that they're both the same mechanism of action. So the efficacy of each of them, it's not like you can take however effective Briviact is and just straight up add it to the Keppra. They've got to compete for those pathways to exert their therapeutic effects. So I've never been on Keppra, so I can't speak to that, but Briviact did not respond well in my system. But I was put on it because of, the mechanism of action. It's something to be aware of. So yeah, if they tolerate that mechanism of action already with the Keppra, then odds are they'll have, at worst, similar side effects. Most likely, less intense than the Keppra, if everything that the doctors are saying about it is to be believed. It's, like all of these things, it's a cost benefit, how much could you potentially get from this medication, and is that worth what that medication could take away from you or do to you in some way? So I don't like Briviact, but I'm not going to say it's a bad drug because it does great stuff for a lot of people. So I don't know. I feel like I kind of danced around or answered yes and no. It could be good, it could be bad, but that's my thoughts. Worth a try if it's something you're inclined to try. Just make sure you're self-informed before going into it. On top of what doctors say, they don't always necessarily remember all of the little details just offhand. So, yeah, as always, do your own research.
Gotcha.
Mark, earlier on you mentioned Lyrica. And what is it about the medication that's primarily prescribed for nerve pain that would work on seizures?
It is a central nervous system depressant. So the backbone of Lyrica, it was built off of the neurotransmitter GABA, which is gamma aminobutyric acid. It is the primary inhibiting, like down-regulating, calming neurotransmitter in the brain. So the idea when they set out to design it, the thought was if we take this neurotransmitter and we alter it in some way, we might get a drug with therapeutic effects that act at GABA that don't mess up the body's own production of GABA itself. So they did these trials, and it turned out that it wasn't exactly the like GABAergic sedative hypnotic they were kind of expecting from doing that, something that would be in the same sort of ballpark as the benzodiazepines or phenobarbital, any of the barbiturates. But it wasn't acting on the GABA receptors in that way. It wasn't going and causing those strong sedating, hypnotic, eventually just like complete knockout, tranquilizing sort of effect. There was a noted decrease among the test group, though, that some patients who had been experiencing neuropathic pain, I think it was initially like a diabetic neuropathy that the an improvement was found, even though it wasn't the the one that they were targeting. And so they researched that more fully, and they found that rather than acting like the sedative hypnotic drugs that they expected, given the gamma backbone of the molecule, what it did was act on the voltage gated sodium channels in the brain. And that effect is how gabapentin uh, behaves and how it acts in the brain. So, purely by accident, they stumbled upon this new medication in this other class. So now there's, not just the standalone gabapentin, there's what they call gabapentinoids, which are the drugs that act in that way on those particular voltage gated calcium channels, or calcium, sodium. I don't know. Maybe both. I'm foggy a little bit, but yeah, it's
You think it's effective?
It's effective. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia before my seizures were identified as seizures, back when they were panic attacks. So they gave me clonazepam to treat the panic attacks, and they gave me pregabalin to treat the pain from the fibromyalgia, both of which I'm now back on for the epilepsy, which seems to be the correct diagnosis, even though they got most of the same medications, same correct medications to treat, everything. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting that I'm back on everything, or not everything, but back on pregabalin and clonazepam now for the epilepsy, even though it's what they were treating for the same stuff with a different diagnosis 10 years ago. So, yeah, but it's it's a good drug. It takes a high dose, a high level of it to reach a therapeutic anticonvulsant level. So like my 150 milligrams 3 times a day is a heavy dose of the Lyrica. That's kind of at the upper limit of what they're recommended to prescribe. And there are exceptions to everything, and some will go higher, but where I'm at, I'm happy with the level that I'm at. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
the body
I
is,
took Lyrica 30 years ago.
huh?
I took it 30 years, over 30 years ago, when I
Yeah.
was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Did it do anything for you?
No, because I had Lyme disease in addition to the fibromyalgia. So it didn't really do anything. But now I'm wondering if I should call my pain doctor and take some more of it.
I mean, it shouldn't hurt your epilepsy, at the very least. Um, I don't know. Does
All
Lyme,
right, thanks.
isn't a lot of the pain associated with Lyme disease from like nervous system, nerve pain?
Well, at the beginning, yes. But what happens is it destroys every joint in your body.
Okay.
So I have severe arthritis in every joint in my body. And not like just the 5 fingers. There's 14 joints in each finger.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
feels like there's a knife sticking in each one, which is why I'm in the desert, because I don't have that pain here.
Nice.
But I mean, that was really the worst. The fibromyalgia was nothing compared to the chronic line.
Yeah. Yeah. I went off of the pregabalin before I don't know, I went all medically non-compliant for a few years and had some ill-advised adventures, but uh, yeah, um, what was that? Why did I say that? There was something
We've
had
all had those ill-advised adventures.
uh, the,
Angel's laughing his ass off.
The last thing you were talking about was how you went into some ill-advised adventures that year or something. I don't know if that might bring it
oh
back.
yeah, the going off of the pregabalin and you know, yeah, I was back in pain again, but it was enough of a baseline, like a constant baseline pain that it just kind of ends up like, you know, tinnitus in the background. You don't really experience it unless I focus on it. Other than that, I know it's there, but it's just, you know, but
Right.
adding the pregabalin to help the seizures did kind of remind me that, yeah, there was pain there and it's a bit better now. So, you know, got two birds stoned at the same time.
Nothing wrong with that.
To the post of the person act, should they switch to Briviact is where we're back to now. Kevin, I don't think you were here, and neither were you, Angel.
I think Kevin was.
I think only Angel wasn't here when I asked the question. And Kate. There we go.
No, I
It
was
must
here.
have been after I was leaving Burger King.
What are your thoughts on Briviact, Angel?
I had that medicine before, and I was on a few medicines, but I know I did not like it. It was definitely out of the five I was on at the time, it was definitely like the strongest with the drowsiness. And that was before I got on Xcopri.
Yeah, there's someone here saying they take 1,800 milligrams of Keppra and 25 milligrams of Lamictal, and it's driving them crazy. So they're trying to figure out which one would be worse, or wanted to know which one would be a good one. And their thing says, should I switch to Briviact was the main question.
Briviact is a better version of Keppra. I believe that is true. But for me and my seizures and everything, until the medical resistance, took its effect, the Vinpat was way better and everything.
Okay. One comment here says, I took Keppra first and thought it was awful. It made me depressed and angry all the time. I take lamotrigine now, and it's been so much better. Just personal experience.
Briviact doesn't have that strong Keppra rage to it, but it does. It's pretty much like, okay, we're taking that Keppra rage out of that and calling it Briviact. That's all they
Like
did.
maybe turn the dial from 10 down to like 7 or something. I
Yeah.
definitely got angry at nothing at all. I was sitting in my room, there was nothing happening, but I was angry at it. Why?
Well, it looks like Angel's calling the shots here. The Briviact and Keppra are both anti-seizure medications that target the SV2A protein in the brain. So they definitely prescribe both of them for focal seizures. Briviact, it sounds like, is what they're saying is more exclusively for focals, but it's definitely targeting the same thing as Keppra, and they're closely related. And apparently, I got off of it for the pregnancy, but it never controlled seizures for me either.
Okay. Yeah, two more comments here. I'll read about that. It says, I take B6 and B12 folate with my Keppra every day, and it works great to stop the side effects. The reason it causes that is because it slowly depletes those in your brain. You need both B6 and B12 to take those. If you take those, you should have less and no side effects. Works good for me. One more comment says everyone's response to the medications is different. I've had some which gave me drastically bad side effects with those, but these same drugs keep others seizure free. It's definitely something to discuss with your doctor. Someone told me you're what's medication resistant is once you try more than one, or I think someone said two.
I think it's two or more. If you've been on two and they're not controlling and then keep going, add a third or something, two or more that don't control it is when my doctor said that I was. So I don't know. Because I started on Lamictal and then that gave me sun-sensitive rashes and then switched to Vimpat, and the Vimpat wasn't doing it with focals, and then had the Lyrica. And with the yeah, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, the
I know you had your hand up too, so I was waiting for you to get your.
that was follow up after I just had an idea about they're mentioning the B12, B6, B12, and I was wondering, it seems like I've heard that about some specific medications. I've heard that about just all medications, all anti-epilepsy drugs. I'm wondering if we've ever gone through and discussed and maybe identified, are there particular like specific anti-epilepsy drugs that deplete the B12 and B6 more than others? Like, cause it sounds, they're saying the Keppra, right? Keppra,
Yeah,
or was it Act
they
for
said
both?
Keppra.
Keppra. So yeah, Keppra, maybe we should make a post about it and like a flag sticky announcement post or something and just have, um, medication, I don't know, some notice about medications that, like a public service announcement. If you take these medications, you likely need to take more B vitamins or something, because that is something I've never heard from any of my doctors on any of my visits. They just
Dang.
throw the prescription at me and then that's it. Send me to the pharmacy. Nobody's ever warned me about make sure you take vitamins, Oh, I don't know. I'm hoping I'm not the only person who's been oblivious before talking to all of you guys.
Yeah, now the
No, I
challenge
think
is just going to be trying to figure out where I did actually learn that stuff from. I don't
Yeah.
know if I always
I
just
think
looked it up myself or heard it from somebody else. I don't think we heard it from doctors though. Good.
Yeah, I learned a
I don't
lot.
think it's definitely been from a doctor's office because we all been doing these little tips and tricks that we learned on our own.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of what I learned is learned here. I don't talk to a doctor as much. I don't think I've talked to a doctor or met a doctor as much as I've met with you guys. Um,
I don't have time to talk to people like us.
yeah,
Gotta
I've met with you
move
guys
on to
more
the next
times than
one.
I've met with a doctor. Um,
They
'Cause my
wouldn't
doctor
tell
was
us
like
about vitamins anyway.
twice a year, and I've met with you guys over 50 times. So yeah, I haven't seen that doctor. I've seen you guys more times.
Like 10 hours each time. That's 50 times. 500 hours.
I've
Wow.
seen my doctors quite a
I
few
don't,
times this year, but that's just to get my seizures back under control.
Right. I think I've seen my doctor maybe twice this year and a video chat
And nine
with a
times out
different.
of ten, we go to these people like not too long after a seizure, so we're not going to remember anything they have to say.
But then you remember it when someone else here says something. So then, like I said, I talk to you
Oh,
guys more.
well, everything they say is also on my chart, so I have to reread my chart after the appointment.
thank God it's there on my chart to reread though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
The
you
only,
get, go ahead.
I was going to say with my chart, the appointment I just had with the new neuro, it was everything I said in the order I said it. He just wrote everything what I said. And I was like, this really just kind of made me pay attention. I was like, you just wrote what I said and then prescribed me Envy based on what I said. I was like, what I didn't tell you should be something, you pay attention to because I didn't tell you stuff that happened in the past. I told them what had happened most recently. And that's why I was like, no, I think I'll just get another neurologist and I'll tell him everything and see where me and him go from there. But this other one, he went off what happened to me in the last year and wanted to give me Omvi. And I got it just in case. Um, we can't sell medication, of course.
Which one is that again? Oh,
Um, they gave me Omvi.
oh, I don't know what I'm blanking on.
I forgot the what's it called? The generic name.
Clobazam
Lebazam.
is a prescription usually used to treat seizures associated with Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, and it's a
Yeah.
benzo,
Hmm.
GABA neurotransmitter.
Yeah, I don't want to take that for my whole life, so I don't want to get started with it. And
Yeah, yeah, be really careful when any doctor tells you to take a benzo daily.
yeah, see, coming here taught me a lot. Before coming here, I would have took that medication like, all right, doc, gotcha. I'll take that.
And that's exactly how they started me on the benzos, agreeing to say, well, let's just try this until our next 3-month appointment. At that point, I'm already dependent on that medication. And if I decide that I don't like how it's working, then I'm going to trigger a cluster. Just getting off of that one gradually. And they spread that out over the course of 2 months to get off of like the lowest level they'll prescribe. So it was like a
And
6-month ordeal every time I just took them up on the offer and tried another pill. That took a lot of time.
This guy, he told me that he's not going to be in the office for long. He's going to retire at the end of next year. So I was just like, there's no reason of like getting to know you really, or you doing a bunch of tests on me to get me nowhere.
it's like a substitute teacher.
Right. He's like, I can give you medication. He's like, but I'm leaving, so there wouldn't be too much time for me to get to know you. And yeah, within 12 months, I'll probably see you once on video. Um, Yeah, so time to move to the next neurologist. Hopefully, I don't
So
talk to them only over video.
I don't know if my for me going on a benzo was the same reason. Well, I wouldn't say the same reason, but a fair reason. Because when I went on to a benzo, it was what actually stopped the seizure because they couldn't get something else to stop the seizure. So I don't know if I can be a fair judge in that case, but I did get myself off the benzo. Hey.
So I do got something here.
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.